Hello, everyone. Welcome to a Knight-Hennessy Scholars information session. Welcome to prospective Knight-Hennessy Scholars applicants who are interested in learning more about our program here today. On behalf of the entire Knight-Hennessy Scholars team, we welcome and thank you for joining us. My name is Rachel Roston, and I am the Director of Admission here on the Knight-Hennessy Scholars team. I was also a relatively recent Stanford graduate student myself, so I do have an understanding of the graduate student experience and the graduate application process. And I know parts of it can be fun. Parts of it can also be quite stressful. And my hope is that I'll be able to shed some light today on our process that will be helpful for you and get you really excited about what is to come in your future. Many of you here on the information session today are likely at different points in your graduate school journey. You're on different timelines, perhaps. Many of you probably have different academic interests, different academic disciplines that you're interested in pursuing in your graduate education. And I presume that you also have very different reasons for seeking graduate study and have different plans for your future. Acknowledging these differences, I hope that if you're watching this information session today, you all have one thing in common. You want to be an inspiring leader. You are seeking to address some of our world's most important and complex challenges, and you appreciate that being an expert in your chosen field is an important first step towards your goals, but is perhaps only the beginning. You recognize that leadership in the modern world requires cross-cultural perspective and expertise across disciplines. And this is why I believe you are here. You aspire to multidisciplinary, multicultural leaders, and you want to learn more about how the Knight-Hennessy Scholars Program can help you become that. The admission team at Knight-Hennessy Scholars wants to empower you to step confidently into your journey to apply to our program and to Stanford. I'll spend the next 10 minutes or so sharing about why we exist as a program, who we are, what we do, where and how we do it, and then I'll spend a few minutes overviewing the admissions process at Knight-Hennessy Scholars. So let's start by exploring why we exist. Knight-Hennessy Scholars brings together a multidisciplinary and multicultural community of graduate students. We provide leadership development that complements your graduate studies and prepares you to address complex challenges facing the world. The program was founded in 2016 by John Hennessy, who is the man in the far right of this photo, Stanford University's 10th president. John recognized an opportunity for greater leadership across a variety of sectors in our society and created a graduate level scholarship to help address this issue. Phil Knight, who's a graduate of Stanford's Business School, the class of 1962, and also the co-founder of Nike, provided the founding donation for this program. And that is how you get the name Knight-Hennessy Scholars. And each year we aim to select up to 100 scholars from across Stanford's 7 graduate schools. We fund for up to 3 years of your graduate study, and we equip you for leadership roles in academia, industry, government, nonprofits, and the community at large. We're very intentional at Knight-Hennessy Scholars about how we define and cultivate this leadership. Our transformational leadership program has 3 goals. The first is to grow your multicultural perspective. The second is to deepen your commitment to a greater good. And the third is to prepare you to drive meaningful results. We also identify 9 traits that you see here that we strive to reinforce in our community and 6 behaviors around which we design our programming. We have a name for this leadership development programming, the King Global Leadership Program, or KGLP for short. And KGLP includes workshops and lectures, projects, field trips designed to reinforce the goals, behaviors, and traits captured in our leadership model here. Your experience in the King Global Leadership Program is enhanced by the opportunity to learn and grow alongside scholars who represent a broad range of disciplines and cultures. Our leadership program is both a supplementary and complementary program to your graduate studies at Stanford. So all of our scholars also apply and are eventually admitted to a Stanford graduate degree program. Knight-Hennessy is not a degree granting program at the university. Your degree program will deepen your domain expertise in your chosen field of study, and Knight-Hennessy Scholars builds on this domain expertise by expanding your knowledge, strengthening your values, building transformational leadership skills, and creating lifelong relationships among current and future global leaders. So I want to talk now about who are these future global leaders, who's in our scholar community. And we've admitted 6 cohorts to Knight-Hennessy Scholars, although the numbers that you see here reflect our first 5 cohorts, since our wonderful 2023 cohort will matriculate this September. Our first cohort of Knight-Hennessy Scholars enrolled in 2018, whom we affectionately call our pioneer cohort. That was a group of 51 scholars. Our most recent cohort is 85 scholars. So we are building towards a steady state size of 100 scholars per cohort, all of whom are starting a new Stanford graduate degree program and who earned their undergraduate degree within 7 years prior to enrolling in their graduate program at Stanford. Our cohorts are multidisciplinary. We've enrolled scholars in 91 degree programs across all 7 of Stanford's schools. 41% are doctoral students, 45% are pursuing professional degrees, and 38% are master's students. 10% of our scholars are also pursuing a dual or a joint degree, so that is absolutely an option if that's something you're interested in. Our cohorts are also multicultural. 45% of our scholars hold a non-US passport from 62 countries in total. We've enrolled scholars from 133 undergraduate institutions, both within the United States and around the world. 48% of our US scholars identify as a person of color. 53% of our scholars are women. So this is an incredibly diverse community here at Stanford. Our community is, of course, more than just our Knight-Hennessy scholars. I mentioned John Hennessy earlier, our founder and director, and our executive director that you see here, Tina Seelig. They draw upon over 70 combined years of Stanford experience and connections that help our community grow. We partner with a number of colleagues around campus to support your experience, including lecturers from our theater department, Dan and Lisa, who teach you improv and storytelling. We facilitate intimate interactive sessions with mentors from across the Stanford community and with our visiting speakers. You also partner very closely with members of the Knight-Hennessy team, including me and all of my fellow admission colleagues across our program team, our operations team. We're all here to support you and work hard to provide the best possible experience for all of our scholars. So I think we have a very extraordinary community. I think this is something you would hear if you talk to any Knight-Hennessy scholar. So I want to share now what we do when we come together. I spoke earlier about the King Global Leadership Program. This program strengthens your leadership skills and traits. Our program offerings are fostering creative problem solving, decision making amidst ambiguity, encouraging opportunity for effective collaboration and compelling communication. The King Global Leadership Program includes 3 different types of programming: core offerings, electives, and scholar-driven events. Core offerings are recurring events that bring together the full Knight-Hennessy community. So some examples of core events include our Keystone projects. In the fall quarter, over 30 scholars pitch ideas for meaningful projects that then form into Keystone project teams. Projects have focused on topics including criminal justice reform, climate change, healthcare, educational inequities, affordable housing, just to name a few. And the Knight-Hennessy team supports these projects by providing professional mentors and financial support for each team. And then in the spring quarter, teams share what they've learned, what they accomplished at the annual Keystone Project Showcase. These projects allow scholars to tackle a really bold project, to collaborate across disciplines, and to achieve meaningful results. I'll highlight McMurtry Leadership Lectures as well as part of our core offerings. Funded by the McMurtry family, McMurtry Leadership Lectures include a presentation by a pretty experienced high-profile leader, followed by a candid discussion or Q&A with scholars. Scholars who have a passion for the topic introduce and moderate the conversations with these speakers, which is a great skills building opportunity. Past McMurtry Leadership Lecture speakers include philanthropist Melinda Gates, author Isabel Wilkerson, who wrote the book Caste that came out a few years ago, also wrote an incredible book called The Warmth of Other Suns many years ago. Economist Raj Chetty, Nobel laureate Dr. Francis Arnold, astronaut Ellen Ochoa, former Secretary of Defense General Jim Mattis, NBA MVP LeBron James, NFL quarterback Andrew Luck, the former president of Chile, Michelle Bachelet. So a few examples of the types of speakers that you will see coming in to Denning House to engage in conversation with our scholars. We also host 3 local weekend retreats each year to help build community and a shared culture for our Knight-Hennessy scholars. The newly arrived arrived cohort each fall goes on the fall retreat, typically held at Asilomar, which is on the California coast in Monterey. And then scholars from all cohorts have the opportunity to attend either our winter retreat, which is held at Chaminade Resort in the Santa Cruz Mountains, or the spring retreat, which is typically held at Stanford's Sierra Camp Conference Center near Lake Tahoe. I want to now talk about the electives. I'm not mentioning all of the programming that exists in the King Global Leadership Program, but just giving you some idea of the types of events that you might see. Electives focus on specific themes within our community. Scholars who are interested in this topic can attend. These often occur over lunch, so it's a great time to come and grab a bite and sit and enjoy some learning and community and food, of course, during your lunch hours. So some examples that I'll highlight here include Curiosity Corner. We invite experts from across campus and the community to share their experiences and knowledge. These sessions include a short talk, followed by a prompt for scholars to discuss. Examples include a robotics expert challenging scholars to think about how robots will change our daily lives, a bioethicist challenging scholars to consider the consequences of gene editing, and an educator asking scholars to consider the role of schools in ending economic disparity. Case studies is another fantastic example of electives where scholars contend with real-life leadership challenges and consider how they might personally respond to these challenges. Examples include a series of discussions about ethical leadership in biotech, journalism, and entrepreneurship. John Hennessy led a case study session called Leading in Uncertainty, where he talked about difficult decisions that had to be made during his time as Stanford University president. The last example of an elective that I will highlight is Global Travel Study. Every scholar is funded for one global travel study trip during their time at Knight-Hennessy. These trips allow scholars the opportunity to explore other cultures, to build community in a really concentrated span of time. These trips are usually 7 to 10 days. Stanford faculty lead and curate these trips, which take place during the breaks in our academic calendar, usually March, June, September, or December. Examples of destinations of trips where we've gone this past calendar year include Berlin, Germany, Costa Rica, China, Norway, South Africa, Jordan, Turkey. We're also headed to India this year and Mongolia. We're headed to Taiwan in December. So there's lots of options to choose from, and everyone hopefully can find one trip that they find to be really compelling for them. I want to talk now about the last bucket of King Global Leadership Program offerings, scholar-driven events. We invite scholars to design and lead a variety of scholar-driven events each year. Scholars apply to receive funding for these events that enrich our community and strengthen our shared culture. Scholars are instrumental to building Knight-Hennessy Scholars, and there are dozens of scholar-driven events each and every year. So some scholar-driven events help to expand our knowledge, deepen our understanding of an important topic. Several scholars designed and led a scholar-driven event focused on the issue of solitary confinement in prison, which included the perspectives of wrongfully imprisoned activists and prison reform advocates. This scholar-led event included an exploration of how scholars across disciplines can contribute to criminal justice reform. Other scholar-driven events are very social in nature. So examples include Deep Dive in the Night, where scholars interview each other about their life journey, or Caged Geographic, where scholars share information with other scholars about their home country. We also bring the community together for events like Friendsgiving and community dinners and our spring formal that we just held. So scholar-driven events are also very social. And again, they shape the Knight-Hennessy experience. Our scholars are community representatives, and they have community representatives via the Scholar Advisory Board. It's a group of scholars who advise the KHS team on strategy and programming. We have a finance committee that reviews and approves funding for scholar-driven events. We have an art advisory committee that helps to bring in various art pieces into our space here on Stanford's campus. We have a DEI, a Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion Committee, focused on issues of DEI. So our scholars are intimately involved in helping to shape the community experience. So you've heard why we exist. who we are as a community, what we do when we're together. And now I want to talk about where all of this happens. Denning House is our convening hub on Stanford's campus for Knight-Hennessy Scholars. It's not a residence hall, but it's a home in many ways for our scholars. It's a dedicated space for building relationships and exploring ideas with your fellow scholars, Stanford community members, and our distinguished visitors that come into our space. The arts are an integral component of Denning House. Works of art are displayed inside and outside, and we invite featured artists to come speak with scholars about the role of the arts in leadership and society. Denning House is located on Stanford's broader campus in California, where you would live and study as a graduate student. Stanford has a graduate student community of just over 9,000 students studying across more than 125 graduate degree programs across the 7 schools. Graduate students typically do live on campus at Stanford, which means you engage with each other and our broader community, both inside and outside of the classroom. Stanford's campus, for those who might be less familiar, is located in California, south of San Francisco, right in the heart of Silicon Valley. And the culture of innovation at Stanford really helped to create the conditions that have allowed Silicon Valley to emerge as the global innovation hub that we know it to be today. At Stanford, you'll find a spirit of comfort with ambiguity, a strong bias towards action, and a willingness to take risks, all of which can really inspire a sense of optimism and belief in the Bay Area that all things are possible. I want to talk now about how we make all of this possible at Knight-Hennessy Scholars. We're an incredibly privileged program with founding gifts totaling more than $750 million. Knight-Hennessy Scholars is the largest endowed graduate fellowship in the world, and the generosity of this endowment enables us to select and support scholars from a wide range of socioeconomic backgrounds and offer all scholars equal access to funding, to the leadership development programming, and to our physical space, Denning House. As a Knight-Hennessy Scholar, you receive financial support that fully covers tuition and associated fees for up to 3 years of graduate study. If your degree program exceeds 3 years, then you will explore funding options with the Stanford department that offers your degree. In addition to tuition and fees, you also receive a stipend for living and academic expenses and a travel grant to cover 1 annual economy class ticket to and from Stanford. First-year scholars receive a relocation and technology stipend to offset expenses of arriving at Stanford. And second and third-year scholars may apply for supplemental funds, which support academic enrichment activities. And we also have some available mental health funding that scholars can apply for. Now, how can you apply to join us? I want to spend a couple minutes talking a little bit about our criteria, our application, and our admission timeline. At Knight-Hennessy Scholars, we have no requirements or quotas by country or world region. We welcome applicants from across the world. However, we do have 2 eligibility requirements for all applicants. First, you must submit 2 separate applications, one to your Stanford degree program and one to Knight-Hennessy. The applications and deadlines are different, so I encourage you to make a plan to meet the requirements and deadlines for both applications. Second, you must have earned your undergraduate degree within the last 7 years. For those of you who are applying in calendar year 2023, so this fall to Knight-Hennessy Scholars, to join the 2024 cohort that will begin graduate education at Stanford in fall 2024, you must have earned your undergrad degree in 2017 or later. For applicants who served in the military after their undergraduate studies, we do offer a 2-year extension on this eligibility window. So for this year, it would be 2015 or later for those who served in the military. Applicants who meet these 2 eligibility requirements may be considered for admission. From this group, we select scholars who most strongly demonstrate our 3 evaluation criteria that you can see here. So the first is independence of thought. We are seeking visionary thinkers who are curious, open-minded, analytical, who are eager for cross-cultural perspective and genuinely excited to boldly and creatively address our world's important challenges. Second is purposeful leadership. We seek courageous leaders who are ethical, decisive, resilient, who are driven to achieve meaningful results and motivated to inspire others to effect positive change at scale. The third is civic mindset. We seek collaborative community members who are humble, empathetic, trustworthy, oriented to act in service of others, and deeply passionate about contributing to the greater good. So you would demonstrate evidence of these 3 criteria in your Knight-Hennessy Scholars application. So let's first overview how and when you apply. The Knight-Hennessy Scholars application is open as of June 1st, 2023, and is due this year by October 11th, at 1:00 p.m. Pacific time. The Knight-Hennessy application deadline in October is the same for all applicants, regardless of the Stanford degree program to which you will apply. In the weeks and months prior to our October deadline, you will need to prepare and submit 5 components of the Knight-Hennessy Scholars application: your online application, your resume, your transcript, your 2 rec letters, and your short answers and essay. You will submit a completely separate application to your Stanford graduate degree program. Some of you may be interested in more than one Stanford graduate degree program. You can only apply to more than one Stanford graduate degree program if you are applying to 2 professional school programs or 1 academic and 1 professional school program. You cannot apply to more than 1 academic program at Stanford at one time. Unlike the Knight-Hennessy Scholars application, which has a uniform deadline for everyone, October 11th this year, the Stanford application deadlines vary by program. So for example, the MBA application deadline is typically in September. The MD application is typically due in October. Applicants to the School of Education typically apply in mid-November, and most other programs have an application deadline in December. It is important to note that you must apply to your Stanford graduate degree program by December 1st of 2023 or your program standard deadline, whichever date is earlier. So it's important that you check with your desired program to confirm its deadline for Knight-Hennessy Scholars applicants specifically, which may be earlier than its deadline for regular applicants who are not applying to Knight-Hennessy Scholars. It's also important to check with your program to confirm their application requirements, which are potentially different than ours at Knight-Hennessy. Some materials may be identical across the 2 applications, like your transcripts. Some might be similar, like your resume. However, you may or may not want to ask the same recommenders to write letters for the 2 applications. It's important to look at the criteria and see who are the appropriate people who know you well and can reflect best on you as it relates to the specific criteria of the application. You will certainly want to write different essays that answer the different application prompts. Your program may require additional materials that Knight-Hennessy does not. Note that if your Stanford program requires test scores, you must also report test scores to Knight-Hennessy. We encourage you to research and plan ahead and to craft distinct applications that demonstrate your distinct qualifications for your program and for Knight-Hennessy Scholars. So now I want to overview what happens after you apply. From October through December, Knight-Hennessy reviews your application if it is eligible and identifies approximately 500 who most strongly demonstrate our selection criteria. In January, we invite this group to record and submit a required video statement in which you have 2 minutes to teach something to your fellow scholars. From this group of 500, we select up to 170 finalists whom we invite to an event that we call Immersion Weekend. This event takes place on Stanford's campus in late February or early March and is a highlight of the applicant experience. Immersion Weekend allows you to learn more about Knight-Hennessy Scholars through event programming and for us to learn about you through interviews. Knight-Hennessy Scholars and your Stanford degree program evaluate your candidacy concurrently but separately. The Stanford degree program conducts its own distinct review and communicates its admission decision to you on its own distinct timeline. Depending on the program, you may receive your Stanford admission decision as early as December or as late as April. Some Knight-Hennessy Scholars finalists have already been offered admission to their Stanford program, while others are still waiting on an admission decision from the university. So let me address 2 common questions. First, can you be admitted to Knight-Hennessy and not to your Stanford degree? The answer is no. You must eventually receive an offer of admission from your Stanford program in order to be a Knight-Hennessy Scholar. Knight-Hennessy cannot admit you to the university. For this reason, we check in with Stanford programs at regular intervals to verify which candidates have applied, who remains competitive for admission, who's been admitted already. We advance at every stage of our process only those KHS applicants whom we're interested in, whom the department also verifies is eligible and competitive. Second, can you be admitted to your Stanford degree program and not to KHS? The answer is yes. It happens every year that many applicants are not selected for Knight-Hennessy, but still receive an admission offer from their Stanford degree program. Many of these applicants choose to enroll at Stanford. And if you're interested in Knight-Hennessy, please apply confidently with the knowledge that your Knight-Hennessy application does not preclude or negatively impact your chances of admission to Stanford. Of course, the happiest outcome is that you receive admission both to Stanford and to Knight-Hennessy. In mid-March, we select and name our scholars, and then those admitted scholars have until early May to accept our offer. We announce our scholars to the world in May, and we welcome our scholars to Denning House in September, and I certainly hope that we'll be welcoming some of you. To recap, we've answered several questions about Knight-Hennessy Scholars: why we exist, who we are, what we do, where and how we do it, and how you can apply to join us. Again, I hope that if you're here today, you are seeking to be an inspiring leader throughout your career. You appreciate that being an expert in your chosen field is just the beginning, and you recognize that leadership in the modern world requires a multicultural and multidisciplinary understanding. And I hope that I've shown you how Knight-Hennessy can help accelerate your journey to impactful leadership. I will end with one final thought. It is a quote from our founder, John Hennessy. When he spoke about the vision for Knight-Hennessy Scholars, he said, "We want to create something enduring that would be unlike anything else currently available to the world's brightest minds, and that would make the biggest impact possible towards solving global challenges." This is our hope at Knight-Hennessy for all of you. I hope that you seek experiences unlike any other. I hope that you seek access to bright minds. I hope you will strive to make the biggest impact possible towards solving some of our world's really pressing global challenges. And I do hope that you'll consider doing these things with us here at Stanford as a Knight-Hennessy Scholar. So to close, if you're excited about what you heard today and want to continue learning more, I invite you to stay in touch. We will be hosting many more events in the weeks and months to come, including online application workshops this summer and admission Q&As in the late summer and early fall that can be so valuable for those who are applying to Knight-Hennessy Scholars this year in 2023 to join our 2024 cohort. I hope I'll have the chance to read more about you in your application in the future. So best of luck, everyone. Bye.